Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Here we are, morning.
Good morning. We're dipping into fall. We're both wearing long sleeves.
No.
Yes.
It's cool in the morning, not too warm in the afternoon. Had a lot of rain here recently. But
Lots of rain this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the hurricane down south.
Yeah.
And all that. So. Just lots of rain in the forecast all over the place. Cooler temperatures, football weather. Yeah, gotta love that. I mean, I love wearing the long sleeves up top and shorts on the bottom. That's my style.
There you go.
Fall is definitely in the air. I know we're going to be talking about selling today.
Yeah, that's the plan.
I also heard a little rumor, and I don't know, verify whether this is true or not, but around, at least for this year, the week of September 29th through October 5th is like the most active buyers week, like all year long.
Yeah, it's crazy. I sure would not have thought that, and I did find that statistic.
Okay.
National Association of Realtors published that, because they track data week in and week out every day throughout the year. And in years past, for whatever reason, that September 29th through October 5th is the busiest week of the year as far as buying goes. Don't ask me why. Some of the information that they put out there behind it was the fact that many times sellers have been on the market for a while, and again, over the last couple of years, we've not dealt with that.
Right.
But as we've talked about, homes are sitting on the market for a longer period of time. Sellers get tired. I look back through some of our shows. I forget how long we've been doing this thing.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Some of the first shows we talked about is sellers getting tired. Well, then COVID hit. There was no sellers getting tired.
No,
right?
Yeah.
But we're back to sellers getting tired. They've been on the market. They priced it, whatever, it didn't sell. They're tired, they really want to sell, so they make adjustments. Or a buyer throws an offer that maybe in August they wouldn't have accepted.
Yeah.
Where at the end of September now they're ready to move for what's their why.
Yeah.
They're ready to get out of the house and go.
Yeah.
They will accept or be more willing to negotiate. I shouldn't say just a lower offer, but more willing to negotiate.
So I sold our first home. We sold it about 12 years ago, and when we sold it, I think we listed it May, June, something like that. And then we got to the point where we were into October, and then we had an offer, and it was less than what we were asking. But then I had to weigh the option: do I go through the wintertime paying that heating bill and stuff like that? And so I opted to sell.
Right. And that they're saying they in air quotes, right? National Association of Realtors says the data backs up that September 29th through October 5th, for whatever reason, and again, real estate's local, it's going to be wherever you're at.
Yeah.
It's going to be different each year, but the reality is they've got a statistic that says it. So, in somewhere throughout the nation, that is the busiest week.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that impact inventory, demand, interest rates. All of those will drive it, but I really think that sellers that have been on the market are definitely more, if they're truly interested in selling, they're more willing to negotiate this time of year than they would have been when it was first on the market. And many times with buyers, a house will hit the market and the buyer's like, well, I want to put a lower offer in, $40,000 offer, 10% off a list price.
Okay.
Seller's probably not going to accept it.
No.
Over the course of the summer, maybe they've adjusted price, they've got down there, and now they want to submit an offer that's 4% off the list price. Yeah, they very well could. If it's been on the market for 4 or 5 months, they're more likely to negotiate.
Yeah.
So that interesting tidbit, September 29th through October 5th this year could be the busiest buying session of the year.
Of the year, wow.
We'll see.
Pretty interesting.
So sellers,
yeah.
Everybody wants to sell and get the most they possibly can.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the objective, is to sell and keep as much in your pocket as you possibly can.
Sure.
Every seller comes into us and says that, I do have those, well, I don't really have to sell. I don't, care if I sell. I just want to see if I can get it sold. Well, you either want to sell it or you don't.
Right.
If ultimately to net the most you can, you need to price it right, and you need to get showings. So what are indications that you've probably missed the boat on pricing? No showings. If you're out there on the market for a month and you've had 0 showings, you probably missed the boat on pricing.
Right.
Now I say probably. That's where working with an agent is actually pretty helpful, because we have access to information that talks about the activity level. If there's 0 activity, so if people aren't buying, like when rates were at 8%, there weren't a lot of people out looking.
Right.
So if you priced it and you thought you priced it right and you weren't getting activity, maybe that's because there is no activity. Although I can say that this year, demand has been reasonably consistent, even when rates were at 8. I mean, there weren't as many people out looking, but there were definitely people still looking. But if you're not getting showings, you can't get an offer. You got to show it to get an offer.
Right.
So if you're not getting activity, if you're not getting showings, you may have missed the boat on pricing, and it's probably time for you to make a price adjustment, to talk with your agent and make a price adjustment. And after the break, we can go into some other strategies as far as, or indicators of, hey, maybe I missed the boat on pricing, or why isn't my house selling?
Okay, you're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes, and we're talking about selling your home, or why is it not selling?
Why is it not selling? That's a question we get asked. You know, we do have access to a lot of information as far as statistics go of market demand, you know, just overall activity within the marketplace. You know, one of the things that I do is I look at comparable listings. So, you know, when you do when you price a property, you look at what's history,
Right.
what's demand look like, where do we think we should price at, and let's face it, sometimes we miss it. It just it doesn't line up. Things change over the course of the listing time frame. Buyers' needs, wants change, interest rates change. All of those things come into play. So if you're not getting showings or offers, price is one thing. If you do get a couple of showings and you get negative feedback, take that feedback to heart. What are they really telling you? Now, unfortunately, many times people will look at a house and all they'll come back with is not interested. Now, from a seller standpoint, that there's
really
no
help you out.
constructive criticism.
Yeah.
You know, what is it? You know, I would prefer to see, even though I don't want to see it, you know, hey, don't like the floor plan, don't like the layout, don't like the neighborhood, don't like the smells.
Yeah.
I had one a couple of summers ago. They did not have air. They had pets in the house, and the pets had messed on the carpet, and
Yeah.
it stunk.
You're right.
I mean, and heat adds to that.
Yeah.
You know, he does. I mean, and I had the discussion with the sellers, like, man, we need to get the carpets clean. There was no getting rid of that smell. It was cats.
Yeah.
I mean, once that's in the flooring,
it's there.
it's there. So how do you overcome that? You adjust price is about it. You got to find a buyer that understands that, okay, hey, I've got a stinky house. I'm gonna need to do some work to this. Another strategy for us at that point was to get estimates for carpeting, because the estimate was, $4,000. Buyers think it's $20,000. So adjusting for price, but at least you can show this is what it would cost you to make these repairs. Some would say make the repairs. If you're not in that position, at least know that you're going to have to reduce your price to offset the cost of those repairs.
Yeah.
So if you're getting that negative feedback, take that to heart and do what you can do. Now, you're not going to pick your house up and move it to a different neighborhood. You can't, right? I mean, hopefully you've priced it to your neighborhood, not to some other neighborhood, right? It's local. You're within the, pricing a house in Webster is not the same as pricing one in Warsaw. It's just not the same marketplace. Now, we're not that far apart. Every day I get it, well, why do you drive to North Webster? That's a long ways. It takes me 20 minutes to drive to work. You know, I'm not the Warsaw homer, 5 minutes, I have to be at work. But there's a difference in the real estate market in North Webster and Warsaw. So take those, the negative feedback to heart. Take the positive feedback to heart. Not everybody slams your house. It just doesn't fit for them. They like the neighborhood. They like the location. I had feedback on a lake property this week. Love the location, love the lake, don't like the house. Not changing the house, but at least it was feedback that we can share with the seller and say, there you go. Now that's this one buyer's opinion, but if you consistently get the same feedback, you need to have the discussion. And ultimately, and I sound like a broken record, it comes back to price. every house is sellable. It just depends on the price.
Yeah.
There is a buyer for every home.
Mm-hmm.
It's the price that matches up between the seller and the buyer, and they may not be equal
Mm-hmm.
for a long
Right.
time.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if your objective is to sell, you need to adjust your price. Many buyers will come to us, especially today. We're seeing it. You know, you're on the market. Used to be on the market 2 days, sold, gone. You know, pending.
Right.
Closed it in 30 days, and now we're seeing things. The days on market begin to extend. We're seeing more inventory on the market. We're seeing the opportunity for buyers to have choice
Mm-hmm.
versus buy it, or there may not be another one come up,
Yeah.
or you're going to get priced out. So if just because a house has been on the market for 30 days or 45 days or 60 days, I'm not saying that it's overpriced, but it could be. Buyers look at that and go, well, it's been on the market, what's wrong with it?
Right.
It's
What's
been
wrong?
on the market 45 days, what's wrong with it?
Mm-hmm.
So from a seller's perspective, just understand price is going to impact a lot of that. Your
Mhm.
condition is going to impact a lot of that. But, you know, ultimately, what is your why? If the intent is I need to be sold in 90 days, then you need to price it accordingly. That is not a place where you can get maximum price and the quickest sales time.
Right.
That is not where we're at in the marketplace today.
Mm-hmm.
It just is not. Things are still moving. It is still a good market, but you've got competition where for a long time there was no
You didn't.
competition. There was
Yeah.
no inventory out there.
Right.
So buyers didn't have much of a choice. If they really wanted to buy, here's what you got. The old Henry Ford. You can pick your
Yeah,
color
right,
if you'd
yeah.
like to, as long
Yeah.
as it's black.
Yeah.
So you can pick the house.
Yeah.
This is what you got. If you need a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, that's the only 4-bedroom, 2-bath on the market. You need to buy that house.
Mm-hmm.
If you can wait. But you don't know when the next one's going to come on, and you don't know
Right.
how many other 4-bedroom, 2-bath house buyers there are out there.
Mm-hmm.
So all is not lost for sellers. That's where, from a seller's perspective, work with an agent that you trust.
Mm-hmm.
Work together on the pricing, on the condition, on getting it ready to sell. Talk to your agent about the marketing. What are you doing to market it? Where is it being marketed at? All of those things. Ultimately, there we will find the balance. We'll find a seller, and
Yeah.
we'll find a buyer,
Yeah.
and we'll find a price
Yeah.
that matches for both. Because
Mhm.
ultimately, that has to happen. If they don't agree, we're not going to sell.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot to it.
There's a lot to the place.
All right. If you'd like to continue this conversation with Mark, make sure you reach out. Mark, contact info.
Sure. Website, skabowskiteam.com. Phone numbers, 574-527-0660. You can always email me, mark@skabowskiteam.com. I've been doing a pretty good job of getting this out on YouTube.
Yeah.
So find us on YouTube. Just search Real Estate in Real Time. Like the page, subscribe to the page. Appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.